Hey Shane, how are you?
Good. How are you, Diego?
Good, thank you. Welcome to this new episode.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. Can't believe a whole
Good
week
to
went by
see you
already.
too.
Yeah, it was a fast week.
Yeah. Tell me about it. It's been a lot going on, but we're happy. We're busy, and it's good to be busy.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely,
We're
definitely. We get that.
making a lot of progress.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, that's great. No, I saw your
So
part.
today I wanted to share with you about the progress actually that we are making in Georgia.
Yeah,
You and I met at a Pips Path event in Atlanta.
right.
When was that? 2021,
20,
22,
oh, actually
21,
22. Yeah, 22, definitely.
or 22.
Yeah, yep.
So we drove together to Dublin,
Yep.
and at that point we were just getting started building our team. People always tell us about our power team. How important is to put together our power team.
Mhm.
So at that time, we had one contractor in Dublin that you met,
Right.
Tony, but he was back and forth between Dublin and Hinesville. Hinesville is 2 hours
Yep.
drive from Dublin. So today we are celebrating that we have not only Tony doing our mm, flips in Dublin, but we also have two contractors helping us with the flips in Huntsville. So this is how the business grows, building teams. This is like when you, I don't know, if you went camping and you were trying to start a fire,
Mhm.
with the two sticks together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Once you got that little fire, you have something to share and put
Yep.
fires on some other areas. Not
Absolutely.
that we want to burn anything, but it's just as an example,
Absolutely.
how how you get started on a small city or a small place, and then that fire grows and helps the communities to grow too. So yeah, we have now two contractors in Hinesville. We're working with three at the same time. So that means the business is growing. We have a lot of progress. Not to mention that Arkansas is also growing really fast. We are blessed, to be able to work at a distance. This is one of the training that PIP offers, and the PIP's path training that we are part of is smart rehab.
Hmm.
He's always teaching us this. This is the only tool that we should be
Yeah,
lifting.
fine with me.
So that's why we call it smart
Hmm.
rehab. We on the phone, you do FaceTime and you get videos and pictures, so you don't have to be there and you don't have to use your hands. You're only using your brain because you're helping others by sharing your knowledge and experience. And that's exactly why we are here, right? We want to share our knowledge and our experience to continue to build power teams, not only in Georgia and Arkansas, but anywhere. We're looking for leaders. We're looking for people who want to grow, just like you, Shane. You have been very committed, very methodic, and always going at it. So that's what we want. More people like you
Yes.
getting in the power team so we can continue to grow and make some progress.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, how how do you feel since we met on Facebook
Yeah.
a few years ago? I don't even remember when,
Yeah.
but you went to this presentation in Atlanta, and then we you went to Orlando and you met Pip in a 3-day class, and you got very little knowledge about real estate. It's been 2 or 3 years. How do you feel about your progress individually?
Yeah, it's certainly been interesting. I keep saying walking through that mobile home park, was right when we met Pip or went to the presentation that first time was certainly eye-opening. It was certainly the first experience I'd really been in a park. I jokingly say my father grew up in a trailer, but other than that, I'd never really had any experience with mobile home parks or anything. Um, and it was really eye-opening to see an industry that has such a to an outsider has such a strange reputation, but really is successful for an investor. And it was great to see how that industry really can be successful economically, and to really have that knowledge now. It's amazing to be able to see when you to be able to look at a deal and not even really be able to not even have to really assess it and know whether or not it'll be successful. Just looking at the numbers when it comes out and really being able to just see the listing of it and be able to tell whether or not it's would really work for us or not, even as a team. It's just great to have that ability already in a few short years. Really, that's definitely been huge. And with the tools we've gotten from Pip and from the other resources that we have, has been awesome. Definitely.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because most people see the mobile homes as not the dream home. Of
Yep.
course, it's not, especially for me. I come from Colombia,
Yep.
and the American dream is not a mobile home.
Right. No, right.
But when I started as an investor, still when I was in Colombia, my first investment property was a rental property, and it was not a mobile home, but it was a house in a working community, like a middle class working community. So it's not a mansion, nothing fancy, but it was an investment, and that's how I started to see how you can make a house a business,
Hmm.
because that's what Kiyosaki is always teaching us. If you own a house and you live in the house, that is not an asset, it's a liability.
Right.
But when you use the house as a business, it becomes an asset.
Hmm.
And the mobile home parks and the mobile homes itself, it's a business, because you're not living in these houses, you're using it
Hmm.
as an asset, because people pay rent, and that creates passive income.
Right.
And the beauty about mobile homes, and that's why I am passionate about recommending mobile homes to people who are just getting started, is because you don't have to have millions, you don't have to have a lot of money.
Right.
In fact, you don't have to have money at all if
Right.
you're doing wholesale,
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
Wholesale is put in the contract, and then you have a fee to get paid for that contract.
Hmm.
So that's the beauty of the wholesale. You don't even have to use your own money. All you have to do is just find the deal, and then find the final the end buyer who's
Hmm.
gonna pay for the contract.
Right. There's lots of.
So and that's how I start bringing some cash for you to get started, and then you start buying your own properties, and then you can do your own flips, and then you can grow from there. And that's what we're here
Yep.
for our audience, to help them get started and get going.
Right. It's baby.
So I'm sorry.
I was saying it's baby steps. Definitely. It's just those.
Exactly.
Yep. Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
So I congratulate the people who are downloading the ebook. We're getting a lot of good feedback.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's like you say, the it's like in the how to investors dummy
Hmm.
book, that is like you say, baby steps, people who don't know much about it, or
Yep.
they're just trying to get something new to learn and make money. So that's what the book is for. But the book is not going to do anything for you.
Right.
We're here to offer that support that you're gonna need to make deals. And once you start making deals, you start making money. That's when you start growing, because your belief system starts to show that, yeah, it works, and I'm gonna make it work at a bigger scale.
Yep.
So that's how you started. That's how I started. And now it's our time to give back and help our community to get started and get going.
That's awesome. No, hopefully we can meet more people along the way, and I certainly hope we can share our message. Definitely. Definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we had been on some other Zoom calls with investors. We
Yeah.
met the other day with this guy who's a civil engineer, so he's already working on the design of RV parks
Yeah.
in a way that is going to be an eco-friendly community. He has a lot of knowledge, because he's one of these travelers
Right. And stay from all
that,
the parks. Yeah.
like, yeah, so he's a user. This is the people we want to have in our power team, people who are using our communities, so they can give us feedback on how to make it better.
Yeah.
So the communities that we are evaluating right now, once we get these properties under contract and we close on these deals, we want our users to be part of this group and be able to help us to make these communities better,
Right.
because that's how we are going to improve and make not only money but also make an impact, a positive impact in our communities.
Yeah, and the beauty is too, those people usually have a lot of contacts too, or potentially with other investors, with existing owners, whether it's mobile home parks, campground owners, things like that. So it's definitely benefits there as well, potentially. So it's definitely helpful.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So good. What do you want to share about this week, Shane?
yeah, so this about 2 weeks ago, I went to a mega RV show. They claim to be the largest show on the East Coast and possibly the country, in Tampa, Florida. There was probably, I want to say, at least 4 or 5 thousand RVs there. It's a pretty massive show. They have probably 50,000 people attended at least. It's at the Tampa Fairgrounds, the state fairgrounds, really in Tampa, and there was probably another 400 vendors there at the show, maybe 300 vendors probably, and everything from RV parks to campgrounds, or dozens of campgrounds there with vendors and whatnot. And it's great just to see. You can see the industry. Yes, it's slowed down in the manufacturing space, but there's still such a demand for RVing, for campgrounds, for just that space in general. It's pretty impressive. The campers, I think the quality's finally come back up again because the demand's gone down a little bit on the manufacturing space. But the campgrounds themselves are full. I mean, in Florida, you can't get a site right now. It's bonkers just because this time of year with the snowbirds coming down and whatnot. And people keep saying they need more campgrounds. They need more campgrounds just because there's so much demand for those sites this time of year. But I mean, it's really year round, but especially when the snowbirds are here from the up north. So it was an interesting show just to walk around. I talked with a few manufacturers and talked with the couple campground owners from around the country, places I've stayed and other places I haven't, and a few vendors of software and equipment we hope to use in the future and things like that. It was pretty interesting. It was a busy show, definitely. It's you get a workout in 2 days. I probably got 25,000 steps each day. It was pretty crazy, but it's a lot of fun. I go every year and stay in a hotel nearby, so it's kind of fun. That was interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I know what you mentioned about people complaining about we need more campgrounds. Uh, as you know, we have a mobile home park in Arkansas,
Yeah,
but it's funny because we get a lot of people asking, can I park my RV in your park? And of course, we have some empty pads that they're not producing any money, so might as well we get something out of it.
yeah,
But our goal in the next few weeks is to find a lot or an RV park that we can separate and instead of being a mixed, can be an RV park and then continue to fill in these spaces with actual mobile homes, or actually we're kind of looking into tiny homes as well.
sure, sure.
So yeah, but the need is there. There's a lot of demand,
Hmm.
and that's why we are encouraging the people who are reading a book to help us finding mobile home parks and RV parks,
Yeah,
so we can provide that service for the travelers, for the people who are like digital nomads, or people who are online, traveling from one side to another side of the country. So that's where we are building our portfolio and our power team to be able to provide that service for them.
absolutely. And that's really been booming since 1970. RVs have really been booming, but especially since COVID, it's just exploded. It's the demand for RVs and RV parks hasn't really slowed down at all. I mean, it's been bonkers. They couldn't keep up during they're really the heart of the pandemic. They couldn't keep up at all. There's so much demand for it. And like I said, the manufacturing has slowed down, but the actual campgrounds themselves haven't at all. I mean, it's just the demand is ridiculous. And a lot of people will explore trying to put motorhomes on their own private property to either to live in or on a temporary basis. Like the county I live in, it's not even allowed. So it's a little bit of a benefit to campgrounds because of the fact that they have to stay with you by law in a lot of places. But it certainly is. It's challenging to find spaces. As an RVer myself, it's very challenging to find spaces, and it shows that need. I think not only in Florida but around the whole country, definitely. So it's definitely interesting at times. But yeah, we definitely hope to have some facilities soon built and or possibly renovated and whatnot. So it's definitely a goal. Definitely.
You touch a very interesting point. We are in Zoom right now.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Zoom until the COVID started.
Hmm.
So it's funny how COVID is like a before and after. And
Oh,
many of the people who are now RVers, they were on a desk working at a factory or at an office. And because of the pandemic, allowed people to work remotely, and Zoom became like their new office. Like right now, you are in Florida, I am in New Hampshire, but we are kind of on the same conference room.
right.
So that's why, as you mentioned, after COVID, the RV park became like the preferred destination for the travelers, because a lot of people are now using Zoom as an office,
Yep.
a digital nomad, and they can travel and they can enjoy life, and they can, it's like you're working while you're having fun, and you're having fun while working. So it makes like a real dream, right?
Yep. And it was funny when it first came, when a lot of people first started RVing, new people to RVing, it was kind of a shock to people like myself who've been doing it for years because there's a lot of like social etiquette and things like that that people just didn't understand that were new to RVing. It was wild to kind of watch that. People kind of had to learn, if you will. And it was just interesting to watch the whole evolution of, things in RV parks, whether it's dump stations or noise at night and things like that. And it's gotten a lot better over time. And the first when COVID first hit, and again, like you said with COVID, it was just that kind of adaptation was a little crazy at first. There's so many new people RVing. It was kind of crazy. So yeah, it's certainly been interesting to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I also noticed that people were afraid to meet people online just a
Mhm.
few years ago.
Oh
You
yeah.
and I met on Facebook, and
Yeah.
we were on a phone or Zoom calls for a while until we finally met in person in Atlanta,
Right.
like 2 or 3 years ago. But it was like a lot of people were afraid to do that. Now, people are more open to do it. People are, oh, yeah, we met on Facebook, and it's like it's a perfect way to meet people. No, I think again, the COVID, the positive side, I would say, I'm sorry that many people passed and many people lost their jobs. A lot of businesses went out of business because of COVID. But if we can see something positive out of COVID, is that the before and after, people are now more willing to help each other out, more willing to be supportive, compassionate, and willing to get out of their way to help the person who's struggling with
Right.
their economy. That's what I like about it.
Mhm.
That's the positive side that I see from COVID, and from there is where we started to grow our business to be where we are, and just being able to see what the future is gonna be like.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I jokingly say, a decade ago, meeting somebody on Facebook was like a way to meet your stalker, if you will. But now it's, the whole reputation's definitely changed. It's interesting how that's. I look at like online dating, as an example. That's like
Exactly.
virtual, similar idea. Definitely, definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's like us being partners, business partners. It's almost like a marriage. There has to be integrity, honesty.
Right.
It has to be a common goal. You can't just be doing things for yourself,
Yep.
or me doing things for myself. We have to join venture. Join our goals together. You have been in the RV war. I've been more into the mobile home, but again, a mobile home park or an RV park can be also a mix of both. People who are full-time residents, people who are in transition from one city to another,
Yep.
and accomplish both services for the people who just need a place to live.
No, absolutely.
It can be all year round, or it can be for a few months, or even for 2 or 3 nights to get going.
Right.
But yeah, online businesses and online meeting people, like you say, it's almost like dating. It was like a taboo years ago, but now
What I
it
was saying.
became like a,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
like a real thing.
Yep.
And for me, it's positive. I see it as a
Yeah.
positive opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I also want to talk about AI because uh,
You read my mind. I
I'm
was about to say the same
I'm
thing.
I'm an old timer. It's not easy for me to digest
Sure.
the technology.
Yep.
I'm open to it because my son, he's 21, and when I was going crazy in my mind following the social media about that conspiracy theory, and I
Mhm.
was like, oh, the AI and all that, and I'm still not quite
Sure.
there. I'm still kind of trying to digest and understand this, but you have that potential for me to make it easier for me to understand, and I want our audience to get that from you.
Yeah.
So share a little bit about the AI technology, and what you know and what we can do as a community.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I know it's interesting. I've had friends that are on Facebook and they started introducing AI chats into Facebook, and everyone I know is flipping out saying that's the government tracking you and this and that. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, not that they're like, in my head, I'm thinking they're already tracking you. They listen to you right now. They're already tracking you in 10 other ways. But they're just tracking you another way. But understanding how the models work myself, it's really no different than sending emails, than Zoom calls. I mean, they're already monitoring all that stuff anyways. But yeah, it's interesting, and it's another business that I work on. I'm working on trying to start for writing books with AI and things like that, and like our book. But the technology for I mean, it's just exploding. I mean, it was roughly a year and a month ago when I first heard about GPT, Chat GPT, and a college professor I asked about an RV park development, was talking to him about, and he said, well, why don't you just ask Chat GPT? It's going to put all the consultants out of business. And I'm like, what are you, Chat GPT? What are you talking about? And I look it up and I'm like, holy cow. Like, I mean, I thought I was one of those like epiphany moments. I'm like, I'll never forget the first time I saw YouTube on like NBC News or something when I was like a 7-year-old kid and my jaw dropped. It was that same feeling. I'm like, holy cow. Just stunning to me, just the capabilities of it, the way it talked. I felt like I'm talking to a person the whole time. It's just amazing. But it's really what's coming beyond that. I think it's really going to change things. I mean, this is like dial-up internet versus the versus fiber optic, if you will. So it's just, I think
Mhm.
what's coming is monumental compared. I mean, they're right now, the company, the OpenAI that owns ChatGPT, is developing a tool where you could tell it to go search for mobile home parks, contact the owners for you, and you don't have to do anything. I mean, it's literally, it'll just do things automatically. You just type up a prompt, tell it what you want it to do, and it'll do it for you. I mean, that's what they're working on right now. And beyond that, oh my God, I mean, it wouldn't shock me in 10 years if that's putting your kids to bed. I mean, the stuff that they're predicting in the future is insane. I mean, it's literally, some of it's terrifying as far as putting everyone out of work and the whole nutty, white collar jobs and blue collar and everything, pretty much. That's a little bit terrifying. But I think in the long term, what it could do for medical research to real estate to, I mean, everything will be impacted. It's insane. It's crazy. So yeah, certainly hope it
Absolutely.
capitalize it off it somehow. But so
When do you think, or based on your knowledge, when did the AI started?
they say that, I mean, there's forms of it have been around since like the 50s. I mean, there's forms of it with predicting a color, or there's like, things back in the 50s in like laboratories of, but it's hard to describe what they did back then. But in its most basic form is things like Google Maps uses AI. There's things that are your email uses, like text prediction is a form of AI. It's very, people overuse the term. They say like everything now is AI. Oh, my water bottle's logo was made with AI. Like, okay, give me a break. But the yeah, it blows my mind. People call AI, and they'll say that like, I don't know. The news is AI. Like, no, it's really not. But they language learning models, that's what powers like ChatGPT, was like 2019 is when that came out. And I've talked to some of the, not a founder of it, but with some of their like lower managers who no longer work at the company. And another gentleman who works at the company who gave me a lot of advice on a concept I'm working on. Yeah, their kind of consensus is like 2019 was when the model was developed for ChatGPT. But there's a lots of other forms of it and whatnot have been in works for the last like 10 years or so. They've really, AI in its present form is probably about 10 years. But
So the reason I'm asking you this question is because I was questioning myself. This morning I went for a walk with my dog and I was just curious. I say, where where do I see, if I go back in the history,
Mhm.
where can I see the beginning of AI?
Yep.
And I was, being an old timer, I was thinking, thinking, let's talk about traffic lights.
Mhm.
Before traffic lights, you had a police
Yep.
man, directing the traffic
Mhm.
under the rain, under the snow, not really like a good environment for a human to be exposed to that environment, right?
Mhm.
So I was thinking, Thomas Edison came up with the light bulb.
Mhm.
So we have electricity, and
Mhm.
now we have a color coded signal that makes people understand when is the go and when is the stop, right?
Yep.
And that was a very basic circuit.
Mhm.
For me, being an electrician, I understand that we have a timer that will allow the green light to stay on for some period of time, and then the red light goes on and all that.
Yep.
But this is what I think the AI came into play: a computer, a motherboard that will control the lights based on a sensor, a motion sensor that detects when the cars are waiting for the green light. Because before those computers, you had to be there looking at the red line for
Mhm.
who knows, maybe just 30 seconds, but it feels like forever when
Yep.
you don't see any other cars going on the other side, right? So that's what I was thinking. That's AI right there.
Mhm.
So how many lives have been saved by
All right.
a traffic light?
Right. Right.
Okay. How many people, like a policeman, being the traffic coordinators or directors, I don't know what the proper
Mhm.
word will be,
Traffic.
but having to be out there in the rain, in the snow,
Mhm.
suffering from, I don't know, pneumonia, things like that, that can potentially be affecting their health. So that's the positive that I want to see
Yep.
on the AI, not to be afraid of,
Right.
but being appreciative of how we are where we are now, thanks to that technology,
And
thanks to
keep in
the
mind,
AI.
there's still police. It's not like police are obsolete because of traffic lights, right?
Exactly, exactly. They still have a job.
Yep.
They're still going around and making sure that the neighborhoods are
Right.
safe,
Right.
but they're in the car
Yep.
protected by from the rain and the snow. That's the point exactly.
Yep. No, definitely. Yeah, no, I totally get that. And that's the thing that I mean, you talk to people that most people that are freaking out about extinction and all that kind of stuff really aren't AI experts. Most people that are involved with it aren't all that concerned. I mean, they're really like it's really not that powerful as people make it out to be. It's powerful, but it's really not as terrifying as most people make it out to be. It's really not as it might, who knows what it'll be down the road, but in its current form, it's really not yet there. It's really not that powerful, if you will. It's certainly the most innovative thing. They keep saying it's the next industrial revolution, which it really is, but it's certainly not as terrifying as a lot of people make it out to be, if you will. And they've got to put safeguards in place. Don't get me wrong. They definitely will regulate it in some way, shape, or form, but it's certainly not as horrifying as some people make it out to be, if you will. So it's certainly interesting.
So I also see it like on the cryptocurrencies.
Hmm.
Many centuries ago, probably still happening, but people were digging, miners
Yep.
looking for gold, looking for diamonds,
Yep.
like as slaves to a system,
Hmm.
because when they find a diamond, they have to give it to the owner of the mine for pennies, and then the owner of the mine becomes rich
Yep.
selling that diamond for the real value, right? Now the uh, cryptocurrency, you can have a computer being the miner. It's a machine
Yep.
digging to find the gold for you, and you can go surfing, you can go for a walk, you can do whatever you want. That computer is your slave.
Yep.
Instead of one person
Hmm.
being the slave to the system, it's the computer, it's the machine
Yep.
working 24/7, 35, 65, and they don't need a vacation, they don't need to go to the doctor, they don't need anything. We as a human are creating our own freedom
Right.
when we put that machine to work for us. That's how, like money working for us, you
Yep.
know. So you make enough money to buy one of these computers. You
Right.
buy yourself one of these miners.
Hmm.
That's freedom to you.
Right.
So that's the positive side that I want to see in the AI instead of being negative about it.
Absolutely. And I think real estate's kind of the same way as far as purchasing something that's cash flow flowing is kind of the same idea. But definitely.
Mhm.
Well, well,
So now, just to close this call today, no, this is a great episode that I really appreciate your input,
mhm.
Shane. How can we implement AI into our business model to buy or flip mobile homes or RVs in developed communities?
Biggest thing right now, it's mostly text generation right now. So a lot of it is like if you want to send out emails and you want the proper formatting, if say like I'm a horrible at spelling, I'll admit that. So a lot of it, it's great with coming up with letters, coming up with whether that's anything from an eviction notice to a a letter that you want to acquire on a property. So anything from those two, from that range is really great for that. I think going forward, it's going to be great for searching for properties, searching for foreclosure, searching for things like that. It'd be great for. It's a little more limited right now in that, but there are tools coming out pretty quickly, and there some of them aren't cheap right now. And then on the cheap end, there's not a lot out there right now, but more so in text generation right now is huge. But I'd say in the next 6 to 12 months, there will only be more tools than there are now.
So for the people who are watching this
Yeah.
and they say, I want to make some money and I want to use this AI technology on a positive side, working with Shane because he's an expert. Let's say they probably live in a community that is remote and they know about mobile homes or RVs or RV parks that might be a good potential for us to develop a better community. So they can reach out to you and ask you how they can get started on this technology, right?
Well, yep, and our contact details are in the bottom of the video and on our website as well. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.